Hello. I'm re-recording the lecture for this course, Journalism 371, this week because I found that a few of you actually, it was just a few, were not able to access the WebEx lecture. I did send out an email. There's a certain speed that's required of your internet to access it properly, but since we do have those issues, I'll just continue with YouTube for the balance of the class. So I'm just going to recap what I talked about there. First off, I mentioned that I've had some feedback from students regarding Media Bistro. Just actually two students who've tried Media Bistro and found it to be just not, just kind of problematic and hard to navigate through. So many other students have had really good experience with Elance. So I would suggest going with Elance as we move forward. I've also posted a link. I have my other computer open here, so I'm just taking a look. Posted a link to freelancer.com. And in freelancer.com, that's another site that is newer, that there's a lot of very valuable resources there for those who want to get involved in the online freelancing market. I'm scrolling down on my computer, and there are two resources I posted, one being tips for Elance and another is Elance success stories, so that you can get an idea of the broader scope of the freelance marketplace. This week, you're beginning to get an idea of what it is like to write keyword articles. What are keyword articles? It's web content that is an article specifically designed to draw readership and hits online to that site. So in other words, you're increasing the search engine optimization by having certain keywords placed strategically within the article so that when someone does a Google or Yahoo search, this site will come up. So your assignment this week is to write a 300 to 400 website content article, and the words you need to use are cheap textbooks and cheap college textbooks, and there are some specifications there in the assignment. So you're writing an article about purchasing textbooks, about you can frame it how you'd like, maybe the expenses involved with being a student, and some sort of article that actually has some written content that you have drafted, but you're using the words as provided in the instructions. The word cheap textbooks needs to be used twice and cheap college textbooks 3 times, and we're asking that you bold that, so that's in bold font. Many jobs you can obtain on the freelance websites have to do with writing this type of article, so it's an important skill to understand how this works. So go ahead and work on that. I do have a PowerPoint there, and if you have any questions, send me an email. You are also working on your blog. As you know, your blogs, I am grading those at the end, so I am reviewing them, but the grades will be posted at the end. And you have reflections. I did receive all of your midterms, and I've graded some of them, and I'm working very hard to get through the balance of those this week. I did want to share with you a little bit about the freelance market, just to give you a perspective of how it's changed. I've been a freelance magazine writer for many years, before the internet. Actually, it's been about 20 years, 20 some years that I've been doing it. And the way it was orchestrated before was that you would write your query, as you've written queries, mail it, and you would include a self-addressed stamped envelope as you mailed this out. The editor would receive your query, and if it was something that they decided to use, you'd receive back a large manila envelope and a contract and a statement explaining when you would be paid and the timing, deadlines, all of that. Otherwise, you'd get a rejection slip. With the internet now, and with having the opportunity to do all of this online, your response is much quicker usually. Usually do hear back fairly quickly, and often there is no need for snail mail. And so in a way, I would say the advantage is having been in that system and now in this system, because I have done freelance writing now. In fact, I did set up an account with Elance several years ago and really worked with it so that I would fully understand it as I taught about it. And I do have colleagues who've made between 30 to 40,000 additional income a year by working with Elance. With that said, the way they've done it is by using it as a networking tool and finding someone who they built a rapport with and did excellent work for, so that they had repeat work from that person. Because once you find someone and you establish that relationship and they appreciate your work ethic, then they will get back with you again, because they prefer to use a limited number of writers. So that's where That's where the real benefit comes. You're in the beginning, you are like going through a needle in a haystack. You're one of many, but once you do very well for someone and they come back and you continually do a good job for them, then you've got steady work coming your way. But what I was going to say, back to the on ground way, when we did it all by snail mail, everything was slower, everything took longer. This way, you have way more information to sort through, way more possibilities, but there are resources available to you just at your fingertips. The researching is easier, writing is easier. It is a little overwhelming with just the sheer volume of traffic and information up on those sites, but I think it's worth the effort, and it also gives you a little bit of insight into just navigating through various sites on the internet and taking that networking that used to be done face to face to a whole nother level, to where you are networking by actually presenting your personality through the internet. So there's some really valuable lessons. So stick with it. I do have some responses from those who've been very impressed with the interaction, and it kind of varies within the class. There are some who really found that this is hard and frustrating, and others who just really, it's opened a new door for them. But the best thing is I see that you're all learning, and that is the purpose. So this week, you have your reflection, your writing assignment, and you have a blog. And if you have any questions, please always feel free to email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a blessed week.